They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that could make sense.
King Harold, King's Roulette, King's Club. Coming to you from the heartland, here we are. We're at our office again, settling in for however long this is going to take. I got my right-hand man, the Angel, right here with me, although I think he's on my left shoulder. I'm looking over right, yep, there he is. Handsome devil that he is. All 6'5", 250 pounds of him, casting a shadow over me right now. The king, also known as Gideon, is at the seat, pumping in the numbers. And we have got Angel's numbers out here. You can tell it right away because that top line is pretty much empty. You got 2 3-6s up there. You got a 3-6 split and a 35-36 split. So 3 6s there a couple of times. That was a nice hit to start things off. Now, for you accountants out there, you guys with the CPAs, this is where the trail gets a little twisted. We are beginning today with $4,449. We have to make 15% of that. 15% of $4,449 is $668. So we have to end up today with at least $5,117 total. Now, having said all that, we have the constraints of this electronic wheel, which appears to be a roulette station. It has a roulette wheel and a ball bouncing around, and it has a computer screen here that you can take bets on, but I have found out that this is actually classified as a slot machine. Now, it's not a slot machine, but it falls in that category, and it's regarded as that inside of the gaming industry. This is regarded as a slot machine. We are beginning today in this slot machine with $2,100 in the machine. And that's because the most you can have in here is $2,999. So we have to play within the constraints of what we have. And from $2,100, we have to make $668 because we still got to make the 15% of the $4,449. And for those of you who aren't asleep yet, congratulations, because these are eye-glazing numbers, but they are real numbers and they are real dollars. So beginning with $4,449, $2,100 is in play. You still got to make 15% of the top number. So we got to make $668. And so we got to end up with $5,117. And to end up there, we have to have $2,768 in the machine. If we have that, all things are good and the world's at peace once again. Because that's also less than $2,999, which we don't want to break through that firewall and get tickets spit out everywhere and have people running around with little tickets for us to sign, because that happens too, and we don't need all that kind of noise. But you do get it from time to time because you got to play the game the way the game comes to you. If you lose 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row, your bets are going to escalate. You're going to have large numbers down. You win, then you're going to have a large payout, and okay, all kind of things can come loose. But we started with 2,100. We've got to have 2,768 in the machine to meet the 15%. And once we've done that, we have gone over the $5,000 mark. And that's not just a goal. That's what we are going to do today. Because the King and the Angel are on the job. We have all the tools necessary. We have the algorithm necessary, the hybrid of the Angel and that genius down south in Big D, Eric Allen. We got everything we need. We got the blended numbers. I got Raymond Green in Illinois trying this out too on his brick and mortar over there. We got it going all around the kingdom right now. This is what we wanted, a vibrant community that is working together. I say it because it's the truth. Success has many fathers and failure is an orphan. We got no orphans here. We're not going to allow any orphans. This is not Les Miserables. As much as we like it, we're not going to have Les Miserables. We are going to have a vibrant kingdom of success. We got the numbers and we're going to roll at it. We are playing the angel right now, and he's exploding the board for us. Thank you very much. I wish that they would let that copyright infringement thing go and let me have the microphone going during the play, because there's a lot of comedic responses between the angel and I. We go so far back together over the decades. We know each other so well. If anybody can put a knife in the ribs, I can put one in his and he can put one in mine, because we know every little dirty secret. We know where everybody is hidden and all the skeletons and where the closets are. We know it all about each other. And another win. Coming through a wonderful time out here in the Midwest where we have unseasonably warm temperatures. But as I was talking with someone this morning, I said, you could say this is climate change, and I'll gladly accept it, because I'm accustomed to 0 degree days in February, and we don't have them right now. We will. It's going to come back. But today, 50 degrees is awfully nice. And the thing I've noticed, though, is that the summers actually aren't hotter. The summers are simply hot. They always are. That's what summertime is. But the winters are, we're having some milder times in the winters, so no disputing that. And right here, we had almost a spring-like day today, in February of all things. Of course, around the country, you guys all experience the same thing, I'm sure. This weather's pretty universal. I mean, unless you're sitting on top of a mountain in Colorado, which, because I've been out there, is an interesting paradox, so to speak. Um, they always say Mile High City, Denver, the stadium, Mile High Stadium. And it is, I mean, it's at 5,280 feet. But the interesting paradox about Denver is the city itself, at 5,280 feet, is the lowest point in the area. It's not on a peak overlooking everything. Matter of fact, it's staring up at everything, because the mountains to the south and the north are 14,000 feet, not 5,000. So you actually go downhill to get to Denver, because you're descending to get to 5,280. You aren't climbing to it. It's really an interesting thing. I used to find all kind of people on the East Coast that thought Denver was like this city on top of a mountain. Well, kind of, but not really. It's one of the lowest points in Colorado. More useless trivia. Pick up another win. We're trying to give you as good a view of this layout electronic board as we can, and you would have a better view if the king didn't have his hand in the camera shot all the time. But the cameraman, the angel, is shooting, and he's trying to move the camera around my hand as I keep putting it in the way. You can see for right now he has scolded me, and I've got my hands out of the way for a little while. They'll come back into view, trust me. We're up to $5 bets now, trying to dig our way back out. Got a habit of starting on the downside lately. Not always that way, but it is sometimes. I say it doesn't matter if you start on fire, if you start cold. By the time you get to the end, you're going to have the money. Playing the blue wheel in this 8-seat configuration. The blue wheel is on the right and the red wheel is on the left. Unless, of course, you're coming from the other direction, but from the direction I'm facing, the blue wheel is in front of me and the red wheel to my left. You can play the wheel. You can change screens. You can do whatever you want. We tend to choose the wheel that's slowest. Usually there's one that's moving faster, gives you less time to make your bet. And since we're dealing with the king here, we like to find the one that moves a little slower. What? That gets changed up. You never know how long it's going to last. These people, they throw curveballs at you. There's no reason a wheel goes from 30 seconds to 12 and sometimes even 9, but they do it. That's because that's how they are. You're facing the IRS, you're facing the state tax, you're facing the casino itself, you're facing the game design, and you're facing your own limitations as you deal with all of the decisions you have to make. That's why you got to have patience and discipline. You got to be sitting quiet, thinking hard. And it doesn't hurt to have an angel on your shoulder either, because he'll chime in with something. You know, right away, look at that top line. We're back on Eric's numbers. Eric's very strong into those numbers divisible by 3. He's got them loaded up there. I follow basketball, and particularly college basketball, really closely. That's one of those occupational hazards about living in Bloomington, Indiana, where we have a horrible college basketball team, but we love basketball here, and so we follow them even though they are struggling and not doing particularly well. But the other night, the Purdue team came down here and whipped us pretty good with that 7'4" center there, Zach Edey, and the local people got a little bit of an eye opener when in the post game interview it was pointed out that he wasn't going to be a lottery pick in the NBA last year, and so he came back for his another year of college basketball, and they were asking him about that, and he said, I might come back for another one next year. And they said, well, why would you do that? I mean, don't you think you can make it in the NBA? And he said, I don't really care if I make it in the NBA or not. Last year I was Division I college basketball's player of the year on a team ranked #1 in the nation. I still am again this year. I could be next year. I make over $2 million a year on NIL while I'm walking around the Purdue campus. I may not even need the NBA. Next question. Quiet in the press room. Yeah, you guys didn't know that, did you? There are guys on the bench all around America right now in football and basketball in particular that are making sizable NIL money because of the way the sharing came out. Not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong. I'm saying we got some college kids making a little bit of money. I always think it's kind of nice to have the guy that's fourth down the bench who's making 45,000 a year. That's the guy I kind of like. I want that spot on the bench. There's a third string quarterback down in Texas making 4 million a year NIL money. He needs it since his last name's Manning. That family's a little short right now. They're working on their budget. Yeah, I know. Instead of having a double zero, I got like a double zero and 2-3 split. I mean, I can come up with some weird looking bets there. That's what he's got. Yep. You kind of wishing it hit the zero. You get the 0 to 2 and the 3. Oh, pretty. It is the 2. Okay. All right. So I think it paid $55 or something like that. That makes perfect sense. Eric Allen's numbers. A little help from my friends. Can't get the bet down, so cover those zeros, and then I got an extra bet out there, and the long arm of the law reaches over me and grabs it, snatches that bet back. That's why I say you can't beat him, you can only hope to contain him. That's all you can do with him. I know you guys have seen it, but one of these nights I'm going to show you on the wheel itself. I'm going to show you that ball when it starts seeking out the zeros, how it looks. It's actually a comedy to watch it as it's spinning around there 14 times and suddenly right at the zero it falls down and bounces out of the 2 and across the 0 and into the 27. There you go. Or the other side, I think it's 10028 on the other side. But it'll hit somewhere in those three places when it's hunting the 0. It's really a comedy to watch. It's even better when you got those numbers bet. The Interblock wheel, made by the Chinese to help American casinos fleece Americans. It's an interesting concept. But what they didn't count on was there's some Americans that are just devious enough to notice the weaknesses, the chinks in the armor, and they will exploit it. And that's what we're doing. All I want to do is break even for a while. Just break even, keep breaking even, keep breaking even, and then one of those 0 or double 0 will go splashing down like the capsule re-entering from outer space. That kind of victory. A splashdown victory. There it is. Come on. You can give it to us at any time. Just missed it. Got the 3. Although the 3 is not that close on the wheel. No, certainly not as close as 1, 2, 28, or 27. And we're back to Angels numbers. Heavy on the first row, light on the third row. Only got the 3-6 split and the 36-35 up there. And there is the 35, just like that. One of the really interesting things that's going on out here in this neck of the woods these days is that the college football merger of the conferences, where a lot of the Pac-10s jumped into the Big Ten, or I don't know, they may be like the Big 20 by now. I don't know how many schools are in that conference now, as they try to rival the Southeast Conferences, two power conferences in America. But one of the benefits of that is this year the Indiana football team gets to go to Los Angeles and play UCLA on the road. And University of Washington Huskies are going to come all the way to Bloomington, Indiana to play IU. And that's going to be fun to see those kinds of games. I've been looking forward to when the University of Southern California Trojans come all the way to Bloomington. It's going to be a real hoot. Of course, all these teams are going to win because we don't really have a good football team. They have a mirage of it every year about how we get the new coach and we get the new recruits, and 11 games later, when we're 3-11, everybody's quiet, or 3-8, whatever we'd be. Every now and then you schedule enough Western Kentuckys and Ball States to get 6 wins, and you sneak into a bowl game where you'll get hammered. Getting these numbers down again, but the Angels numbers are out there. Got to plus these bets up a little bit. Having some bad luck. No such thing. There's no luck at all. It's not bad luck. It's not good luck. There's no luck at all. This is just, there are numbers and then there are more numbers. Booyah. I'm not really good with Angels numbers yet. You can see how I kind of stumble around through it. Clock is running down, and there's that long arm of the law sneaks in again to help me out. Got two of us pushing numbers. Angel hits 36-35 for me to get it closed down that last bet. Good that he did, huh? 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 See what value that was to have him around? Some people say he's totally useless, but I would never say that. That man will surprise you. Yep. Try to get them down, King. Yeah, just forget the whole thing. Blow it up, cover the zeros, and go on. You are about useless, King. Saved a little bit of money, though. Sometimes being stupid helps out. I can tell you it's helped me my whole life. Been a constant companion. That's the angel's hand. I don't have three. That's his. He moved around to my right side so he could get a better angle at that last bet. If it were to keep getting warm like this, the IU co-eds might be able to do spring break right here in town. Why would you want to go to Florida if you can get a suntan in Bloomington? Battling. We are at battle stations here, working it hard. As you can see, the Angel made the call to the bullpen, sat himself down, and brought in a fresh arm. Eric A. is back in play. It's nice to have these alternating things, and we'd like to have you could come up with a prompt for when you were going to do it, but the prompt would just be that it wouldn't be anything meaningful. You'd like to come up with a series, like how many would you do with one before you went to the other? They're both so strong, and yet you can run through a peak with one when there's a valley in the other. And you'd like to choose the right time, but that takes a little bit of doing sometimes. I just believe they're both good, so you could go with either one. There are some similarities. There are some duplicated numbers because they each are strategically placed around the wheel with just minor flat spots. And there's the wind. And we keep going. And we are going to cash out. We have made it. 2009-03, we busted right through the ceiling again. For the angel, the king bids you adieu.